You are absolutely right. I'm not saying that every complaint in the Lord of the Rings fandom is steeped in racism and misogyny and homophobia sometimes. I'm not saying that that's always the case, but it's the case often enough that I take most like criticism in the Lord of the Rings fandom and the Tolkien fandom with a grain of salt now. Like the stuff I see on Facebook, especially because Facebook isn't necessarily anonymous, like your personal account is attached to some of that stuff. Like some of y'all should be ashamed. Like some of y'all should feel bad. Some of you are going to have a lot to answer for when you stand in front of God. There's a lot of people in like the anti circles of this fandom who were talking about War of the Rohirrim with their whole chest, and you could tell they didn't see the movie. Like, oh no, this movie sucks. Oh no, it's not well written. Oh no, it's not like in the spirit of Tolkien. Motherfucker, are you kidding me? Like, this isn't even just like a good Lord of the Rings movie. Like, it's a good movie. I took my husband to see this movie, and my husband is not a Lord of the Rings person, but he is an anime person. He walked out of this movie like, this movie was incredible. My best friend in the whole world is both a Lord of the Rings person and an anime person. I also like anime, but I wouldn't call myself an anime person in the way that they are. And they were parts of this movie where she was crying. Like it was, and this girl does not cry. And it just goes to show how like people go into like these movies, especially female-led movies, without like any sort of open mind at all. Like, do any of y'all remember the absolute travesty that was Captain Marvel getting review brigaded before the movie even came out? Like, oh, this is like the worst movie ever, even though they didn't see it. Pepperidge Farm remembers. And this has been going on long before Morfydd Clark showed up on our small screens as Galadriel. Like, this has been going on for a really, really long time. I was old enough to be using the internet when the Lord of the Rings movies came out. And the way that everybody freaked the fuck out because Arwen had more screen time and, you know, dared to be a character that replaced Glorfindel in the flight to the Ford sequence. It was, even at that age, 11, 12, 13 years old, I remember being like, oh my God, like these people like just really hate girl characters. And then if you're a woman and you dare to have a public opinion in this fandom, you get written off as like being woke or being like, you know, like a libtard or whatever. I actually saw the word libtard being used in Tolkien circles not that long ago. It's horrific. Like, we should feel bad. Like, this is something that really does need to be spoken about in this fandom, and we don't do it. Why not? And I wouldn't be shocked if we don't get like cool, interesting adaptations of Lord of the Rings stories that really push the envelope anymore, because the fandom is just showing like this ultimate like aversion to it, like this ugh towards it. And it's not fair, because like I want to see more War of the Rohirrim type movies. I want to see more female characters in prominence in Lord of the Rings adaptations. The material supports it. Like, the fuck? And then in service of that misogyny and sexism and racism and all of that, there's this constant goalpost moving, because back in the day it was like, oh no, like Arwen being at the flight to the Ford sequence is like spitting in the face of Tolkien. But then it was, oh, Toriel existing is spitting in the face of Tolkien. And now it's like, oh no, like Toriel is actually fine. What really the problem is Morfydd Clark as Galadriel. Like, there's always like this goalpost moving, but it doesn't matter as long as there is a girl character and sometimes a girl and sometimes an actress to dunk on in this fandom as a scapegoat for like whatever they think is wrong with the fandom. I can't. Like, it sucks. Like, the whole thing just sucks. And we should feel bad. Like, I want to see more girly pop Lord of the Rings fans out in the world doing shit. Like, there's some amazing girls in this fandom, and they get shat on, like, for what? For what? For not being racist? Like, the fuck is this?